Today on Comedy on Tap, Chief Justice of the Supreme Court John Roberts drops by to show us how to do the jitterbug. Johnny Cash tells us why he shot a man in Reno. And Donald and Daffy Duck fight to see who is the ultimate duck. None of that, but much more today on Comedy on Tap. Hello and welcome to Comedy on Tap. I am your host, Adam Casey Elder. With me is my co-host, Uriah Wesman. Uriah, how you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. With this hot weather, I'm sweating like a white liberal discovering privilege.
Hi-oh! You just went down to LA to audition at Flappers. How did that go?
Yeah, it'll be my second time going down to LA, and everyone's like, you gotta audition at Flappers. It's gonna go great. The thing about this is that everyone's so nervous for the audition. It's like a bunch of people waiting for their cancer results when they already know they got cancer.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unique because it's the first time really being in front of bookers. So I got nervous as if it was my first time doing stand-up.
Makes sense.
So my set didn't go that great. I didn't get an email.
You didn't get an email, no callbacks?
No callbacks, but I learned from it.
You learned, and that's the most important thing. Is always learning from our mistakes and our transgressions. And speaking of learning from mistakes and our transgressions, our first and only guest has learned from many of his mistakes and his transgressions. He is a cool guy. He has a voice. He was a judge in the World Series of Comedy. He has traveled across the country doing comedy, and he is a co-producer of Comedy Hideaway. And not to mention, a very, very good friend. Ladies and gentlemen, please applaud at home for our guest, Maximillian Robert Lockwood.
Hey, hi.
How you doing, Maximillian?
Welcome to me.
Welcome to you, sir.
I like how you went through the credits without a single breath or hesitation in between, so it's just this one long monster credit, like, he's a guy who has a voice, and he went all over the country, and he's a guy with a voice, like, that was, because I was just shooting shit, and now that shit is going to haunt me for forever. So thank you, sir.
Are you saying that wasn't just one credit I was listening? I thought that was just one credit.
That was basically just one credit. I'm a one credit guy. One credit is all I need. People are like, you should go by Maximillian, like Cher, and I'm like, no. I should really just have a single credit to my name. Which is, he's a guy with a voice, you're going around the country, world champion, good friend, Maximillian Robert Lockwood. That's what I got.
In my previous life, I was an auctioneer.
I could tell in my previous life I was not an auctioneer because I fumbled through all of that madness and I could not pronounce or enunciate a single word there. So it basically was just dead air, but with white noise coming through.
But it was very charismatic dead air, and that's what
Thank you very much. That is how I do what I do, is charisma.
Do you have any nightmare stories of going down to L.A.?
Going down to L.A. in particular, I mean, I've had, like, shows where I've had shows where my name gets botched all the time because I, oblige upon people to say Maximillian Robert Lockwood, and they're like, fucking really? And I'm like, yeah. And so that's one thing. I mean, I've had shows that I've done for, like, all of 2 people in the crowd that are, like, tourists from Greece, and they were just barked into the show. I've done shows that have had a lot of people, but I was, like, green and stuff, so I didn't really know my way around how to do stuff. Actually, when I was doing, not in LA, but when I was back in Baltimore, I was doing a comedy contest at Magoobies, which is a comedy club out there. And Baltimore and Maryland, where I'm from, is the South, and so there's a lot of like Baptists and whatnot. So the audience, I was cracking them up, knocking them dead at this contest, doing very, very well. Indeed became one of the finalists for this contest. However, at this point in time in my act, I mentioned that I was an atheist, and you could hear all the buttholes clenching in the room. And they just stopped laughing, and I was super green at this point, so I had no idea how to react to it. That was hilariously awful for me. I mean, I've done everything from like shows in backyards and shows at like 2 in the afternoon at a 4th of July barbecue in Oxnard, and I've done with kids around and no viable PA system. I've done shows in literal alleys, so like just talking from a brick wall towards a brick wall.
I've done that.
I was in Denver and I did a show that was like there was a bar with a very high ceiling, probably like 20 feet, and then a brick wall and I think a milk crate and a mic with a bad speaker, and you were maybe 6 feet away from this bar where everyone is not fucking paying attention to you, and you're just yelling and screaming at them, telling them how worthless they are, while also being like, no, I don't want to cry myself to sleep tonight, please give me at least a chuckle. And I've done them. I've done them all. I've done the good ones, I've done the not so good ones, but that's comedy.
That is definitely comedy for you.
Yeah. How are you, sir, on this fine afternoon? Summer's... No, it's not summer anymore. It's fall.
It is fall.
Yesterday was the first day of fall.
Seasons don't exist in California.
That's also true. But it is technically fall now, so I feel that much better about the pumpkin that I've had outside my door for a year. That really just warms my heart.
Speaking of pumpkin, let's talk about Halloween.
Okay.
What are you going to be for Halloween?
How do you like that segue? I was going to be one of the... Thank you very much.
I'm the king of the segues.
I wish that I was Dean Kamen myself. Oh man, if you guys got that reference. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm just glad I pulled his name out of my ass. I was going to be, for Halloween, I was thinking about being Marco from Saga, which is some comics that are, while they are super popular and won multiple awards and all that jazz, I think an Eisner, all that, they are not as popular as, other comic book characters because it's a new independent series, Image Comics. And as such, I would be that dude with the horns and nobody would really understand it. Not that wouldn't get me any less laid, but it would probably not get me as immediately laid. I'd have to actually talk and stuff.
But you'd still get laid.
Probably. I have a voice and it helps. And I've been told that I have a face for radio. So that's...
I wouldn't say that's true. But if you're listening to Maximillian right now and never seen him, no, he is actually not a 6'6" black guy.
I'm not a 6'6" black guy. I'm not any kind of tall. I'm rather diminutive in stature, Lilliputian, if you will. But
a giant personality.
A giant, just an enormous ego. It is a huge ego. My God, I'm surprised it fits in this studio.
It is a little cozy in here.
At least it keeps you guys warm on these cold fall nights.
Exactly.
So I'm thinking that I'm gonna do something in theme with the Halloween party that we are about to have, but the theme's not revealed yet, so I don't want to spoil anything. It'll just, I promise, be out of this dimension. It should be a good thing.
I did want to ask you about your Halloween party because you're a legend for your Halloween parties.
So I'm told.
Without giving anything away of this year's premise, can you give us a hint?
Well, what I can do is I can talk about our old parties. Our first one had a... Was there a cohesive theme? Not exactly, but we just like to deck. We deck the halls, as it were, even though it's Halloween season. We try to have some kind of cohesion. We try to have the decorations all mesh together pretty well. And this is all in Andre's house over in Goleta. And one of the housemates there wants to be an event planner anyways, and so she has a very creative mind when it comes to decoration, and I've always been a huge fan of Halloween, and my sister and I would decorate Halloween parties, all that. So I have a number of ideas, and my mind's always been kind of horror oriented because when it comes to writing and creating stuff. Mm-hmm. So first party was dope, and then the second year, Stranger Things had just come out the previous summer, so we had a Stranger Things themed party. We had the lights up on the wall. We had we had Will's house, and then the lab, and then the upside down, and it was like in 3 stages and everything. And it was rad.
Oh wow!
And then last year we had, because I was in England in October, we had to have a just after Halloween party the Friday after, and Halloween came on like a Tuesday or whatever last year. So we had to, instead of Halloween, we had a Dia de los Muertos, but we still wanted to keep it Halloween horror themed, so it was Diablo de los Muertos. So it was really colorful and everything, but we had and a lot of like skulls, but we still had like a horror Halloween element behind it all. And this year should be no different. We have a nice theme for everything, and it'll be a lot of fun.
It sounds a lot of fun. I'm still not sure what I'm going to be for Halloween. I was thinking maybe a Viking, but I'm trying to think of something more clever than that. I don't know. You have any suggestions?
You should be Gladiator. You should be Maximus.
Maximus.
And but you should be like Maximus with the stutter. And
with the stutter.
You should be like, "Are you not entertained?
Are you not?"
I am a piece of shit, and I love you to death, Adam.
Thank
but
you.
I have to.
No, you have to comment on it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you
I've
gotta
heard
own the shit that makes you different. Honestly,
Yeah.
Until you comment on it, it is not yours. It's something that people get to, lord over you or something like that. Whereas as soon as you acknowledge it, like me, I am a cockalorum, just a small, self-important little man. Until you fully embrace that.
That's a good word, cockalorum.
Cockalorum is the best fucking... Oh, cockalorum. So I have a dictionary.com app on my phone, and one of the times I looked at it gives you a different word of the day every day, and one of the words was cockalorum, and the definition of cockalorum verbatim is a self-important little man. And so my life was changed ever since I learned that word and had that identity to fully, embody.
Yeah.
And I was just elated over the world. I told my family, I was like, "Look at this! This is a fantastic word." And then, indeed, we were watching like Downton Abbey at the time. So one of the head butler in the house used it in an episode, like shortly thereafter, a couple weeks after. We were like, "Oh my god, you're." And so, and there's also, my sister showed me this thing recently that's like this kind of now creepy because it's older, because it is just weird and like out of touch, like an 80s sing-along children's cartoon that was talking about, they were like, "Oh, it's the merriest cockalorum under the sea," and like it was... Anyway, some weird stuff, and apparently the Brits use this word a hell of a lot more than we Americans do. Cockalorum, fantastic. You're welcome for the dictionary vocab lesson.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I got a couple others. Uriah, what are you going to be for Halloween, good sir, to bring you back into the mix?
It's a bit of a cliche, but I think for the first time ever in my life, I'm just going to be myself.
That's terrible.
That is really bad.
That's a scary
awful,
costume.
awful idea.
No, I'm probably going to be one of the characters from The Purge.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That was one of the potential themes for the party, was the Purge. We were going over some drinks and everything. We had a list of like 7, and then we like decided on one, but then I was like, actually, we could do this, and that became the theme because everybody's on board. So, yeah, The Purge has a nice message to say about the state of affairs, and I feel like The Purge and like Get Out and a number of other movies should exist in the same universe.
Yeah, they all kind of say a lot about our current political climate.
I mean, it's such a bloody nightmare. But anyway, what else in that regard? What about Halloween is there left to say? Do you describe yourself, Adam, as a Halloweenie?
As a Halloweenie?
Yeah.
Not really. I have a bit about Halloween, how it was like my favorite holiday when I was a kid, but as an adult, I don't know. I like Halloween, but I just haven't really gotten it. Last couple of years, just haven't gotten it together. I just didn't really have an awesome party to go to, so I haven't been dressed up for Halloween in a couple of years.
I can dig that. That's why, honestly, I'm a huge fan of Halloween, and that's kind of why I've wanted to have these parties, and I'm glad that, Andres hosted them, and we can kind of do a lot decorating the place, and he's getting more involved because he wasn't like, he's born in Ukraine, and his parents weren't like 100% on board with the holiday when he was a kid. So I'm sure he like went out trick or treating, but it wasn't like a big thing for them. Whereas I remember when I was growing up, like, I have 4 siblings. I'm the middle of 5 kids, and we're in a neighborhood where there were a lot of houses, and there was fun to trick or treat and everything. And this was Maryland, where it's actually fall, and there are leaves that are on the ground, and you can really get into the Halloween spirit and everything. And so that, and the guy, I think one of the coolest thing was the guy across the street. The family's last name was the Cheneys. This guy would every year rig a system that he would have a skeleton head sticking out, or like a zombie head sticking out of some mulch, and he would put up a tombstone.
Oh, cool.
And the thing is, he would hide in his house, and for kids, you don't really fully appreciate this, but he would hide in his house, have a speaker like behind this tombstone or whatever, and he would talk to you and answer these questions as this like freshly dead skeleton or corpse or whatever, like in this partially or freshly buried grave. It was awesome, and so there was just a lot of like enthusiasm behind Halloween growing up. So I like to extend that into adulthood. Halloween parties are the best way that adults can get in on this madness, and be in tune with their we have to do all the adulting all the goddamn time, and appreciate how crushing and depressing the state of affairs is with adult life. And so just a moment to kind of zone out from that is always a blessing.
One year, when I didn't have any plans for Halloween, but I know the kids in the neighborhood, so I put out a pumpkin and gave out candy. And I just had this system rigged where my friends, we had set up this gargoyle, and you would have to ask the gargoyle. You would have to trick or treat to the gargoyle, and we had like this tube of this like gigantic, like a paper towel tube, but like it was gigantic. I can't remember where we got it from.
Yeah.
That was his arm. So he would put down the candy, so it would look like this goblin was just materializing candy from nowhere.
Oh, that's fantastic! That's so rad.
Yeah.
We one of the places in my neighborhood that growing up was one of my favorites, and I now do myself because it's just the best idea. Is there was a one street over from mine. There was a house that gave out comic books instead of...
Oh, that is awesome.
So you would get these comic books, and it was dope as all hell. So now that there's Free Comic Book Day, the first Saturday of May every year, I get the entire stack, everything they offer, from the kids and fair to the adult mature comic books, whatever, and sort through those, go what's for kids, what's for teens, and give those out on Halloween because I want to pay it forward.
Yeah, definitely.
It's awesome. It's so much fun.
Do you remember some of the comic books you got?
I got X-Men comics, and trying to sift through that when you're a kid. Because you'd pick it up and
it's a metaphor for prejudice. Have fun.
It's not just that, but it's like at this point, this is like the '90s, and I'm sure some of these comic books were like late '80s when you just had like it was Rob Liefeld with the pockets on top of muscles on top of bulging muscles and everything with absurd proportions, both for males and females alike. And then you're like reading through X-Men, and you have just characters that you've never heard of outside of like I'll watch like X-Men the animated series or whatever on TV, and then you try to you're like, who is Bishop? I have no idea who Bishop is. What is this arc? You pick up some random issue, you have no idea what's going on. It's never going to be the first issue in an arc, and even if it is, that still means you need to have the canon leading up to it to really understand the state of affairs. So it was I appreciated what existed there on the page, but I couldn't tell you the character's motivations or anything like that. So
who was Bishop? Like, what were his powers? I can't remember.
Bishop Ken, he's from the future, like I think the same age of hardship for mutants that Cable came from, and he might have some telepathic something or other. I know Blink can do the portals, but Bishop, all I remember Bishop he just has like an M on his eye, I think. And then he has like big ass guns and shit. And he might also have like the what is it, the techno virus that is plaguing Cable and all that.
Oh,
I don't know, man. There's so much there.
There's a lot to dissect.
Exactly. With Marvel in general, there's a lot of canon, but with X-Men, it's like its own sub universe.
We haven't even gotten into the aliens yet.
Yeah, totally, 100%. It's so bloody weird.
It is.
Anyway. What other topics? Because this is a rabbit hole that we could just continue down for forever.
We could go down this all day. But what do you say we play some games? Would you like to play some games?
We can play some games.
All right, we are going to pitch a bad movie. This is an actual true thing. I'm dead serious about this. We're going to come up with a movie right here, right now, and then I'm going to type it up, and I'm going to send it to Hollywood, and then we are all going to get our checks for $1 million each.
I really hope that they pay their writers $1 million each.
They have to. This idea is definitely $3 million.
Oh, right, yeah, of course. What am I saying? We're pitching it.
Yeah, exactly. We're
pitching
it.
So it's gold.
Obviously, it's going to happen.
All right. How are we starting this off?
We're starting off. It is going to be a DC movie. The DC Extended Universe has had a bit of a hiccup lately. I liked the movie Man of Steel, but many people did not, and they've made a lot of pretty bad movies, critically acclaimed. They haven't really made that much money.
Sure.
Not critically acclaimed.
Critically panned.
Critically panned, yes.
Yeah. The exception of Wonder Woman.
Okay, with the exception of Wonder Woman. And recently, both the Batman and Superman quit.
They did.
So that's going to be very difficult for them to make more Justice League movies in the future.
Yes and no. I mean, it'll be good to have if they play with it and instead of recast it immediately, they. So the thing is, those movies are. It's not the DC extended universe anymore. It's not the DC EU. They officially rebranded it, even though practically no one knows. Because it's DC and nobody's like following along.
Nobody cares.
It is Worlds of DC.
So
instead of Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're going completely opposite. They're just calling it Worlds of DC. And with that, they should play into, just like I hope Marvel plays into with Phase 4, the multiverse. And they should really go with, Crisis on Infinite Earths kind of thing, where they start to build upon the idea that, okay, this super gritty, Man of Steel universe that they've established is only one of many.
Yes.
And they need to go into more, camp and fun and whatever else that really... So they round out, they flesh out their characters. The only reason Superman, Man of Steel was so gritty is because at one point it was going to kind of tangentially exist in the same universe as like Batman Begins and all that, in the Nolanverse. So they don't need to make it grounded. They don't need to make it gritty. They need to make it fun. And it looks like Shazam, for its benefit, is going to do that, and maybe a little bit of Aquaman 2. Aquaman is directed by James Wan, and he is a fine director, made some very good movies. So, I do have my hopes for at least some launching point for some kind of breath of fresh air for DC fans. But yeah, I think they should deal with the fact that they don't have a Superman and they don't have a Batman, and they should just leave it that way, and that should be the status quo. And maybe they get another one from a different Earth, and that joins their own universe when that Earth dies or something, because Brainiac took it over. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah.
But they should just have like a Wonder Woman leading the Justice League in the wake of Batman and Superman's absence, and make it a lighter fare, and deal with the fact that, hey, these two are gone. They were iconic, and now we need to kind of pick up the pieces. I don't think they should recast it immediately.
Okay.
But
having said all that,
exactly,
let's
pitch a movie.
Come up with our movie. So, how do you think this should begin with?
Having cheated and having known that that this game was going to come up, I wanted to double down and make sure that I got this character's name right. I think that as I was saying about, I'm pitching this. So, have I got a movie for you, Mr. Hollywood Executive?
Producer.
So, Batman, Superman are out of the Justice League, and nobody knows where they can be found. They've just disappeared from existence, and they need more Justice League members. So they have tryouts at the Hall of Justice. There's a newly established Hall of Justice. that Wonder Woman is, lording over and leading with her wisdom and knowledge and leadership. Knowledge and leadership. And they're looking for new heroes. So this movie is going to center on Arm Fall Off Boy.
Arm Fall Off Boy.
Which is a real live character that exists in DC Comics. Look it up. Arm Fall Off Boy.
I'm guessing his arms fall off.
His arms fall off. He can pop his arm off and like whack bad guys with it. And This is going to be a rags to riches superhero story where this guy is just like, I have this power and my arms keep falling off, and his friends, tease him about it, and his parents kind of disown him because he manifests this power when he's like a teenager or whatever. And they're like, oh, we don't want any arm sockets appearing in our house. And so he's down on his luck, and he's like, I am going to turn my life around. Superman and Batman
son of mine is going to be a leper.
Right, exactly. He doesn't want to be the family black sheep leper. And so he's out, he's down in his luck, and he's like, I'm gonna be a hero, and I'm going to stop crime. So he's going around, doing the vigilanteism that Batman was doing, except with more kind of sounds. And then he pops off his arm and he fights crime, and he goes to the Justice League and he says, I can be the next superhero that you guys need. And then right at the climax, it's coming down to it. He's got his arm on the table. Give me a job. And they say, no, get the hell out of my office. We need people that fly and shoot laser beams out of their eyes.
Right, that makes sense.
Yep. So that's my $3 million.
Arms off to you.
Thank you very much. I exude.
I like it. I like it if we get Booster Gold in there.
Booster Gold could probably be
He's one of my favorite completely useless superheroes.
He, I think, had a series recently. I don't know. I know Batman, and I know a handful of things outside of Batman, but as with a lot of the DC, you're either like super invested in DC or you just know Batman.
Yeah.
And Batman has the double-edged sword of being awesome and having one of the best rogues galleries, and then also existing in this world where, you have Superman and Wonder Woman and everybody knows that, and you got the Flash and, Green Arrow and Martian Manhunter and whatnot, but then you couldn't really exactly name their respective rogues galleries. Maybe Superman you can name like 5.
Yeah.
But like Batman you can probably name 20.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Without having to look anything up.
Best supervillain ever, Baby Doll. In fact, I actually think Baby Doll should be the supervillain for this.
Baby Doll.
She is she was an actress who has the Gary Coleman disease. So she is she is a full-grown woman who looks like a small girl.
I think I know, yeah.
And she went insane and captured... I only know her from Batman the Animated Series. She hasn't really been featured in the comic much. But she went insane and captured the old stars from her sitcom and dressed them up as their characters and made them reenact the sitcom over and over and over again.
That's quite the supervillain. I like that the supervillainry is very focused.
Yeah.
It doesn't change week to week.
No, it doesn't.
She's not looking to rob any banks or anything. She just wants to relive her glory days. That's a very grounded, realistic supervillain.
Yeah.
Because, if I could go back to middle school...
Yeah, absolutely.
...and do everything over again, I think I would rather just die. Going back to middle school and high school... If I could go back to elementary school, dude, I would do things different. But, middle school, starting then, no thank you.
Yeah, I would never go back to... The mistakes I would like to correct from high school, but I would never go back to middle school or grade school.
Right.
It's just...
the thing, yeah. I want to, if I could individually, without having to, relive those days and everything, and if I could just go in there with, an adult outlook and just say, cool, just need to work hard, just need to do well in school, really don't care about these people because I'm not going to know them in 20 years. Let me just put my head down and I'll get into Harvard and correct the correct the wrongs, and actually never start comedy. That's the key to success in this country.
This is the DC alternate universe of Maximillian.
This is the world of Maximillian in DC, where I, instead of being a comic book character. I instead am like a wealthy billionaire that doesn't care about little people. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were just meaning like a comedian, but you mean a comic book.
All right, you see the play there?
I
tried. I was aiming for that.
Man,
you were over here, and you're just
he's talking to Uriah Wesman right now.
See, when it comes to comic books, I know as much as a white person knows about other people's cultures.
So, speaking of Canada, what Canadian superheroes? What about like Captain Canuck? What do you have to tell us about that gentleman?
Well, we got Ryan Reynolds.
That is the only Canadian superhero that I can think of.
What I would think, I don't know.
You're forgetting a very, very big Canadian superhero. I'm going to give you a chance to remember his name, because there's a major one you're forgetting.
Jim Carrey?
Clean Water.
I'll give you a hint. Schwing.
Oh, yeah, Mike Myers.
Mike Myers.
No, Wolverine, Yes.
Oh, Wolverine.
Yes, Wolverine.
Didn't you say Schwing?
Yes, but
do you realize that Wolverine is snicked?
Oh.
Snicked. It's snicked.
But in the movies, it makes a swing sound.
Makes it like a shing. Yeah, like a. But you said schwing.
Mike
Myers is a decent guess for your bullshit because he actually is Canadian. And yes, Wolverine is supposed to be like 5'2".
Yeah, he's supposed to be really short.
And he's supposed to be really short. And then they were like, "Hey, we're gonna get this Australian opera singer to play him,
who's stuck in the 80s."
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Those movies are. Logan was fantastic.
Yeah, because it was rated R.
Yeah. Yeah, and they could actually let him do the full-on Berserker Rage. So that got off track. That is my movie pitch, barring everything that came after the climax and exuents that I said.
Well, we did go up on a tangent there, but I think we got a pretty good movie. We're going to have Arm Fall Off Boy. Oh, you know who should do the soundtrack for the Arm Fall Off Boy movie?
Tom Green.
Fall Out Boy.
Oh, God, no.
Come on, the marketing writes itself.
Ugh,
yeah, they're terrible, but the name fits with Fall Out Boy, Fallout Boy.
That's true.
Evanescence. We could bring back the Daredevil. He can just do the same song keeps playing again and again every time there's a fight song.
Oh, yeah, the terrible Daredevil soundtrack.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, God, remember the early 2000s new metal? Wasn't that fantastic?
Ugh, you guys are... I thought this was going to be a fun podcast.
You thought wrong.
You thought so wrong. Boy, did you ever pick the wrong podcast.
The thing is, we were talking about how he didn't want to go back to middle school and high school, and you're taking me back.
See, I tell you though, if I went back to middle school, I would ask that one girl out.
What would she say?
Probably, no, I have kids.
There you go.
Yeah. And that is our DC movie. What I liked about that is that we stayed on track and were very specific in what we were trying to do. And really, I think we got a really good, solid movie there. I'm going to type it up and I'm going to ship it off to Hollywood, and we should get our checks within a couple weeks.
Thank you. I'm excited, man. I could use the financial break. I got bills. I got to pay my family's bills, all kinds of fun stuff.
Oh, I get to finally join the Writers Guild.
There we are, yes. I feel like as soon as you make $1 million, I probably need to, sign off with us first. All right, any more fun games to play?
Yes, now we're going to play Would You Rather.
I think that was Would You Rather for the people at home.
Dan Rather.
Dan Rather.
No.
Because I'm just Marshall Rathers. I've never actually listened
to
Dan
Rather. This is 60 Minutes.
Eminem's music.
I was going to say, I don't remember that song, but...
Marshall Mathers.
Marshall Mathers, yeah.
Marshall Rathers. Anyways, long story stupid. I'm a fucking idiot. Let's continue with this game.
Okay.
Let's do it.
The way we play this is I'm going to give you two different scenarios.
All right.
You have to do not choose. You have to make a choice between two of them, but do not vote right away. That is the classic "Would you rather" blunder.
Oh.
Make sure to ask as many questions as you can.
Okay.
And the way you win this game is by asking as many questions as possible, and by keeping this game going and making it a fun kind of improv exercise. I should have said that on the podcast, but okay.
Whatever. The more honest you are, the more appreciated it gets on behalf of your audience because it's relatable.
And I was honest with my girlfriend, and then she left me.
Okay, that we will edit.
All
right, so the way you play...
I was honest with your girlfriend, too, and that's why she left you. Anyways,
Honesty is
all
the
right, we're
devil's
gonna play.
music.
Would you rather? What would you rather? Would I rather what?
The scenario for would you rather is this is a keeping up with the theme of partially the theme of the intro. We are doing a Johnny Cash theme. Would you rather? Would you rather shoot a man in Reno just to watch him die, or be a boy named Sue? I am opening the floor for questions.
All right. Does a boy named Sue have a penis?
Yes, you have a penis.
You're a boy. Does he have well, okay, but Sue could be a little girl who identifies as a boy.
That's very true.
So that song is taking on new meaning.
Yeah, that's right.
So I do still have a penis. And I think I identify as a male, even though my name is Sue. What's it called? Does Sue as a boy? How old is Sue?
But now you're the same age you are now.
Same. Well, so I'm a 29-year-old boy. Jesus
you're a
Christ.
29-year-old
boy man.
You've grown up with
man
the
boy.
name Sue.
Okay, that's fair enough. I've grown up with the name Sue, and I haven't killed myself yet.
No, you have not killed
I've
yourself
not killed
yet.
myself. I'm still extant. Okay, and then does boy named Sue, is he a hit with the ladies because he's like, hey, like I have to deal with this and I've owned up to being named Sue?
He is a big hit with the ladies.
Big hit with the ladies. Okay. And then beyond that, does he have a good job?
Job-wise, not so good. Take the job you have right now, but you make let's say $1,000, $5,000 a year less.
Okay, so it's a little tighter, but you're still hit with the ladies. Your name is Sue, which is, I mean, I guess whenever you have a resume, like, because you're probably on an upward trajectory.
You are on an upward trajectory.
Especially now with the Me Too movement and everything else. And, you know...
it would be very different if we were playing this game in 1962.
62, yes, but like late 60s, early 70s, that's another story. But yeah, okay, so you are now in the workforce, and your name is Sue, and now whenever you put a resume out there and they don't see what you look like, they automatically have to assume that you're a woman, which means that much more likely you get called back for an interview, probably, because... they're like, oh, okay, well, we're pieces of shit and have been historically, and there are too many white guys around here, so we need to call you in to diversify our staff and make it look like we're not, you know, just patriarchal assholes.
You are often confused at jobs for being they think that you're a woman, so you have to come in drag in a sitcom.
Oh, you have to be Tootsie.
Tootsie, yeah, exactly.
Oh, shit. Okay, wait a minute.
I was going to go with Jack and Jill, but that's a much better reference.
Yeah,
But not all the time, but just for your current job situation.
Okay.
And you've had to do this a few times in your life.
But are you then always dressing up as a woman for your job?
No, you're not always dressing up as a woman.
So it's like a gag that you pull and then you get the job and you're like, hey, I'm actually a man, and they're fine with that.
No, you have to keep up the rules as being a woman. But for the rest of your life, like your dating life, your life with your friends, you're a man.
Right. But at your job, you're a woman.
Yes.
So you have to dress and drag like every day.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you still identify as a man.
You still identify as a man. And this is kind of sitcom logic. So even though most people, if I saw like you in a dress with some makeup on, I would say, hey, it's Maximillian in a dress with some makeup on. But this is the fictional world. At the job, everyone sees you as a beautiful lady.
Okay, so why aren't we pitching this show, not that shitty movie I came up with?
That's a good question, actually.
That is one of the questions with the would you rather line of logic. Okay, and in this sitcom world... it's not a chauvinist thing to dress up like a woman and go to work every day and still be a hit with the ladies while you are a man the rest of the time.
No.
Okay. And you have friends?
You have some friends.
Okay. All right. And you don't do comedy?
You don't do comedy.
Because you have a job and friends and a life. Gotcha.
You have an active social life.
That's fair. Okay, so would I shoot a man in Reno just to watch him die? Is this person in Reno that you shoot a bad person?
He's a very bad person.
Oh, he's a very bad person. Okay, so the world would be relatively better off.
Better without him. You get away with the crime, but you still feel the guilt of it. Even though he was a bad person, you still kind of think about it every now and then. It's not like haunting you. It's not like the biggest deal ever. But it's still weighs in your mind from time to time.
Okay, and then is this person that you shot, or that you are to shoot... are you like some vigilante and or crime fighter, like a cop or something, and was this like the one who got away?
You're the Punisher in the scenario.
You're the Punisher?
Yes.
And is this the dude that killed your family?
Yes, he is.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, okay. So this dude killed my family. Why are we in Reno?
That's just because that's where you tracked him down.
So I just tracked him down to Reno?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm just kind of punishing my way across the country to get to Reno.
Exactly.
And the dude's there. And
you're the Punisher, you travel on in a van, Microchip is your friend.
Yeah, right, exactly. You got the Punisher mobile and all that. Okay, so and you got a base of operations.
It's not a Punisher mobile. That's ridiculous. He's the Punisher. He just has a van.
Just has a van. He's a van guy.
Exactly.
You know what Microchip is? The Vanguard. Okay. So when you're shooting,
it took me a minute to get that joke, but it's worth it.
you're shooting him. Are you shooting him in the middle of broad daylight in like the middle of the street? Because I'm thinking like I know Reno looks exactly nothing like this, but I'm thinking it's like Old West, and there are saloons, and everybody is like watching this quick draw between the two of you. Everybody,
it's a big crowd, and it's the modern day, so some people have cell phone footage. You still get away with it though, even though there's a warrant for your arrest in Reno. You get the hell out of Dodge very quickly, and no one ever come. And there's a bounty hunter who's after you, but you always manage to elude him.
Man, this story sure proves that white privilege is a thing.
It is.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry, you're a white Punisher, right?
Oh, obviously, yeah.
Is the bad guy who killed your family white?
Yes, he's white.
Okay, thank God. Otherwise, there'd be
that'd be really racist. Otherwise,
Okay, so good. So I'm killing some white dude, which honestly would be a good start, just in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not saying that you should kill white dudes. I'm just saying there's certain white dudes.
He's a rich,
that
waspy.
If they were to happen to die,
he is a rich, waspy white guy who pretty much had everything handed to him on silver platters. So.
Does the white dude that we are gunning down, who is rich and a prick, and who shot our family or killed him or whatever he did, does he have a family?
Yes, he does.
So would my killing this dude perpetuate the cycle of violence and revenge?
Yes and no. It's
because I feel like, especially if there's like cell phone footage out there, say this dude has like a 10-year-old son, and he's gonna watch these videos on YouTube of his dad being gunned down by the Punisher, then that dude's gonna have a vendetta against the Punisher.
He does, and he grows up trying for the rest of his life. He tries to kill you.
Right, exactly.
He's not successful,
but that's not necessarily even the bounty hunter. So you have at least two guys looking to kill you, and when this son gets older, that means that you, as the Punisher, 10 years plus from now, are not as peak on top of your game as maybe you used to be. Your reflexes slow or whatever, so you're probably that much more like beat up.
You're in your 40s, but you're still good. You're still in pretty good shape.
So I was 30 when I gunned this dude down, and then 40s when the son is now old enough to hunt me down.
Exactly.
So this would perpetuate a lot, and as opposed to like, so you're shooting him just to watch him die, and you get that satisfaction fleetingly. But if you had any kind of like semblance of morality and perspective, if you were able to like step back for a second and think outside yourself, you drove across because Punisher's from like the New York area. You're driving out to Reno, van and all, and you probably have like that's a lot of hours to think, maybe it's not going to do anything. If you had incontrovertible evidence to suggest that this guy killed your family. Mm-hmm. I think that in that case you should just take him to justice, which is probably belies my anti-gun stand.
I've actually tried that before. Before you try to take vengeance, you try to get the law involved. The law will not help you.
The law won't help me.
The taking him out is a last ditch effort.
So is the law like then relatively on? It's very corrupt. It's on his side.
Yes,
almost bought and paid for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm either some dead end job dude Sue. Well, maybe not dead end job because like he's probably on the up and up. He's got a name.
He's on the up and up.
But It's not, well, it's dead end in the fact that you have to dress up as a woman every day, so you're not yourself at your job, but maybe by dressing up, you're playing a role anyway, so maybe that you're that much better at your job, because you're not, like, lamenting how crappy your life is in a 9-to-5. You're like, oh, this is so funny that I'm playing this role, and I'm super into it, and I'm committed to the role and the character, and I'm going to this job, but then in my off time, I get to be a man, boy, whatever it is, named Sue, who is hit with the ladies and has a social life.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, but you're only making like $5,000 less than I presently make, so it's okay. It's like a decent, comfortable-ish. It depends on where you're living. And then, all right. And then the other scenario is you shoot a man in Reno who killed your family, who is bought and paid for government officials / police force, so that they don't intervene when you are trying to take them to justice. So you have to take justice into your own hands, and the only course of action is to shoot this guy down in Reno in front of a crowd where people are going to catch it on tape, and you're going to, or tape is an antiquated saying, catch it on camera. Yes. And they're going to upload it to the internet, and the man's son is going to find out and hunt you down, in addition to any of this guy's bodyguards at the family. Or,
I gotta say, you are very good at this game.
I am trying to think out every scenario that could possibly arise from this.
I'm trying to. I want you to have a fighting chance here, but you are just flailing, brother. You are like not asking any questions at all.
He's the strong and silent type.
He is the strong and silent type.
I wish I could
but that doesn't work on a podcast.
Is Sue a lawyer?
Is what?
Is Sue a lawyer?
Yes, she's a lawyer.
That's actually a fantastic name. She would get a lot of cases with that. She is on the up and up.
Sue for the suing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Did you ask that question just so you can make that pun?
I thought about the pun after.
Get out.
I said it.
No, she could go for district attorney in like within 10 years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's a very successful lawyer.
But then she's irritated because everyone thinks she's a sewer.
My questions actually had some semblance of
Maximillian, you have some questions to ask.
Okay. So Sue is not exactly in the same business analyst position that I'm in. She is a lawyer who's probably only starting out, and she's like been between a couple different firms, but then they realize what an asset they have on their hands. So she is going to go on the up and up and probably go for district attorney someday. Are these two separate universes, that the man who shoots a man in Reno just to watch him die and the boy named Sue live in?
The minute you make this decision, you will split off into two people, and you will each exist in the same universe. So there will be a you who is the Punisher, and a you who is the Sue. You just have to choose which one you want to be.
This is for everyone listening at home. This podcast is sponsored by YooHoo.
Yes.
Whenever we say YooHoo, we get paid millions upon millions of dollars, which is why we have to differentiate the you who becomes the man who shoots a man in Reno and the you who becomes a man boy named Sue. So maybe you who chooses that course of action kind of do you like reincarnate as these people and your life starts over again, so that as to have these trajectories and this whatnot?
You just split off into two people. Like, I'm trying to think of a movie where that happens, but I can't think of it.
It's Sliding Doors.
Sliding Doors. Okay, it's like Sliding Doors.
Parent Trap.
Parent Trap. Probably not a Parent Trap. You can either be the Lindsay Lohan who is in the Parent Trap, or the older version of Lindsay Lohan
who's on TMZ,
who sleeps on sidewalks.
Yes.
Good sidewalks, though.
It is. They're probably rodeo sidewalks.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the course of it. And then, okay, so what happens after the Punisher shoots the man in Reno? Does, like, what he gets hunted by bounty hunters that are probably already paid for or whatever.
Get into a very big, after you shoot him, you get into a very big action sequence.
Okay. It's like a chase scene.
Yeah, it's a big action sequence and chase scene.
Okay.
And that's mostly your life. There is a lot of downtime, too. I mean, these are the parts that don't make it into the movie that's eventually made about your life.
Right.
But there's a lot of just hanging out in hostels and...
Could you...
Yes.
As the Punisher who has shot a man who wronged his family and all that jazz, is the sitcom style life and romanticization still present in this universe.
It is still present in this universe.
So
I think I know where you're going with this.
Go and shoot a man in Reno just to watch him die and have that checked off your bucket list.
Yes.
Go into almost hiding, but not really witness protection program because, again, the government's corrupt. So instead, you go and decide to become a lawyer for yourself and dress in drag.
Yes.
By daytime, and then pursue both a vigilantism / social life while you were looking like a man, not in the 9 to 5 hours.
That is exactly right.
Let's go ahead. In that case, let's go ahead and shoot a man in Reno just to watch him die.
Maximillian, that is exactly how you're supposed to play. Wow, this wasn't even really a contest. This was just a complete blowout. Maximillian, you have definitely won this game. That was flawless logic. That is exactly how you play. Would You Rather?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am here all the next couple of minutes that this thing exists.
Uriah, would you like to apologize to the public?
No. The Would You Rather game is traumatic because it's the same game my parents played, and that's why I was conceived.
Really? I did not know that. I'm sorry. I would not have...
Would you rather have sex feel good or great? And they're like, oh, I guess we'll go with great. And then 9 months later, Uriah was here.
6 months, actually. I was premature by 3 months.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Go expound upon that. Would you rather talk about how you were a preemie, or would you rather us not talk about your personal life because I won't delve into it?
It's not true.
No. Oh, for fuck's sake. I was talking about, honesty and how that equates to relatability here, and you gotta show vulnerabilities and everything and embrace that. I thought we were having a breakthrough here, and instead, I was duped. And I'm never coming back to be on your show. Fuck you guys.
Oh, come on.
You pieces of work.
No.
You so-and-so's.
Oh,
See,
Maximillian,
you were our backup. We had Stuart Little lined up, and he couldn't make it.
Stuart Little, he was actually, I think I stepped on him in the garden. I'm sorry about that.
When we say backup, we mean he was on his way. And then he never showed up, so we called Maximillian. It turns out the reason he never showed up is because Maximillian stepped on him.
So the thing is, first time I met Stuart Little, I was in Reno. Mm-hmm. And Stuart Little had wronged me by shooting down my family. And
no. That's
Stuart
just like
Little
the scenario of the game we
is
played.
a piece of work. Stuart Little the thing is, he is littler than even myself.
He is very tiny.
And as such is just the perfect, Don to the mafia family that is the rodent species. Or many species, the speciation of rodents. So he had a literal Wolverine tear my family to shreds in front of my eyes. Who would have thought that a E.B. White character would be the mastermind behind all of my trauma in my life? So again, here I am, opening up, not lying about how I was 3 months premature. Instead, I'm sharing with the audience.
See, this is how you be a guest on a podcast.
I've never seen such a more entitled mouse in my fucking life than when Stuart Little was here.
No. True.
Yeah, he was entitled. He was a very entitled guy.
Piece of shit. It was 4 months premature.
He spoke up a little bit, though.
Yeah, that he did. Yeah. And with that, that brings the game to a close, and sadly, that brings the podcast to a close as well. Uriah, do you have any last thing you want to say, anything you want to promote? I know you have the Brass Bear show that's coming up.
Yeah, Brass Bear show, I don't think it's the Brass Bear show I host. It's every second and fourth Monday. It's at Brass Bear Brewery at 28 Anacapa. That's in Santa Barbara.
Do you have anything you want to promote, Maximillian?
I'm going to be at 14 Cannons Winery or something on August 11th. The thing is, I say this because I was just booked for it, a day or two ago, and so I don't know all the details, but I'm going to be in Westlake Village, and it's going to be a show, and you guys can follow me, I guess, on social media.
That's true.
Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat and all those wonderful media. Everything is MRL Comedy. So it's at MRL Comedy for Maximillian Robert Lockwood Comedy, but because nobody can spell Maximilian nor Robert nor Lockwood, comedy I think they can get away with. So
they can.
MRL Comedy.
MRL Comedy.
Yeah, indeed. So that's what I got.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
I hope I can have you back again sometime.
As soon as Uriah starts telling the truth.
You got it. We'll work on Uriah. He's an ongoing project. All right, that's it. That is the end of the podcast. Thank you very much for listening to us, ladies and gentlemen. Really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful night, and I hope all your dreams come true.